Hello, this is Hope Broski with Weddings and Celebrations. Well, one of the greatest things about a celebration is that you have beautiful flowers that people love to look at and smell. And today we are so thrilled to have Deniz coming in from Country Chic Floral. Welcome to the show.
Thanks.
I'm glad that you're here, Anne. So tell me a little bit how you got into the whole floral design concept.
So I actually was an ag teacher for the past 12 years, and a few years into that, we decided to add to our program and some new classes and new pathways, and we added a floral design class. So I jumped in as the teacher and had to learn as I went and teach my students, and eventually we got up to doing tons of holidays and events, and I even, my students did a lot of weddings throughout the valley as well.
That's amazing. So not only are you a florist, but you're also a floral teacher as well. And I think that says a great deal because obviously you know what you're doing. I've had a chance to take a look at some of your pictures. And the first one that I'd like to go to, because I think this is amazing. A lot of florists it's flowers and things, but you can integrate sentimental objects or pieces into an arrangement, and I'd really like to take a look at that one first if we can. It's just a beautiful, what you did is, if you can tell us a little bit about what you did with the handkerchiefs coming in, and we need to move forward on the video. We need to move forward on the...
She went to the last picture.
Last picture, there we go.
There
Good.
we go.
Okay, tell us
so
about that.
with that, the bride's grandmother had given me a few of her grandfather's handkerchiefs and wanted to incorporate them somehow in her day. So they happened to be pinkish. Maybe they were red once upon a time. But I was able to fold those into roses and wired them and added those into her bouquet. So I think I had 3 of them in that bouquet, so she had a piece of that as well.
I just think that, because that's so sentimental, and that's great that you have the creativity to put that together. What are some of the, as we talk about weddings, what are some of the trends that we're seeing in weddings?
Trends, there's been a lot of, over the past year, a lot of like the boho and the pampas and the dried flowers and dried materials, as well as a lot of eucalyptus. That's been very, very big. Garlands running down like the long kind of farm style tables.
Yes.
Those have been, and then I still have a lot of the classic whites, but I really love texture, and so I try to put in as many different types of whites and things to make it not so, it's still monochromatic, but it's not very monotone. Like I like a lot of the texture and giving some differences there. So,
and as you were talking about colors, what are some of the trendy colors that you're working with mostly?
Through this fall, I had a lot of like terracotta, rusty, burnt orange types of flowers, which in that first picture, there is some in that arbor piece. And then a lot of the whites. I haven't had a lot of big colorful ones lately. It seemed to be almost more like neutrals.
Oh, okay. Okay. And in this picture that we have up here, tell us a little bit about that because this just looks fascinating to me.
So they had a double triangle arbor or arch, whichever you want to call it. And so there was a piece on each. So it gave it a lot of dimension because one was on the back triangle, one was on the front triangle. Again, a lot of texture in the pampas, eucalyptuses, and that does have some of that like burnt, rusty orange and peaches and blush worked in.
Now, do you get some of your inspiration from looking at others, or do you have something in mind and you just kind of roll with it?
A little bit of both.
Oh, good.
I love when I always tell my brides or my clients, like, send me your Pinterest inspo. Like, send me all the screenshots you can and tell me what bits and pieces, and so we'll merge things together. Or sometimes, especially, maybe some holiday pieces or memorial and funeral pieces too. They'll just kind of have like a color or a favorite flower or a outdoorsy kind of a thing, and they just kind of go for it.
Okay, so let's take a look at this picture right here. Tell us a little bit about that.
That was a lot of fun. Just this last fall, the bride wanted flowers to really be a statement and a focal at her wedding. And instead of a big arbor, she wanted like a flower arch, like flower wall behind her. So in the back, so that's picture the whole aisles. We had the entry, and then in the back it was a half circle of just like almost all solid whites.
Wow, that's just absolutely breathtaking.
And I can't wait to I haven't gotten the professional pictures from this wedding yet because it was kind of recent, but I can't wait to see them.
Let's move to the next picture that you have and just tell us a little bit about this beautiful bouquet right there.
Yeah, that was the bridal bouquet. Again, very trendy this fall was kind of that rust and that terracotta. Added in lots of texture because that's kind of my favorite thing to do, and did mention to the flowers.
And looking at it, adding in the texture does give it the dimension.
It's just something different. Yeah.
Yes, it just pops a little bit
probably
more.
My favorite thing, and even when I was teaching before, I always said like texture. I love texture.
Okay, so that's good to know.
Yeah.
That's great to know. So besides weddings, what other events have you done? And tell us a little bit about how you work with that.
I've definitely done bridal showers, baby showers, birthday parties for 80th big birthday party. What else? Some corporate types of or holiday events, and then of course funerals, memorials, that type of thing.
Right.
Both casket sprays, easels, container pieces.
You do it all.
Do it all. Yep.
You do it all.
And then I also just started doing flower bars. So I have a mobile cart that I can stock with different flowers and get recipe and bouquet bags, so people at your event could make a bouquet to go. As well as classes. Last week and this week we did a wreath making class for the holidays.
That sounds like fun because a lot of people, they sit there and they're like, this is just so neat. How do you do that? And I remember years ago, I took a flower arranging class, and I remember the first thing they told me, if you're sitting with a group of people at a table, do not make your flower, centerpiece high, because then you're never going to be able to see over.
Yeah.
So you want to keep it low.
Low, or a lot of things that's also kind of trendy right now is the risers. So they're I've done a couple weddings with them, kind of. It's not a cube because it's tall, but it just has the 4 stakes installed, so the flowers are up high. And so you can see through it. And you can put some candles and some bits in the bottom, but then it's not blocking the view of everyone at that table.
And thank you, because that's good to know, because, like I said, some of us are in the mindset of just this just that, and now we can get a little bit more creative with everything, which is terrific. So how far do you travel within the Valley?
I am willing to travel depending on, probably within an hour-ish. I've gone up to Oakhurst, going up to Tenaya this weekend, and I've gone out to Sanger quite a few times. There's a lot of venues in the Sanger area, and even a lot of backyard weddings in the Sanger area because there's just beautiful property out there.
Well, wonderful. How do people get in touch with you?
The easiest way is probably Facebook or Instagram, which is Country Chic Floral Co, or my email is countrychicforalco@gmail.com.
So is there anything you want the viewers to know before we wrap up? Just in with your business and how far advanced that they may need to reach out to you?
Definitely. So I do have weddings and events already booked in some of the spring, and even actually a past student, a graduate, for next November.
Wow.
Which is maybe a little excessive, but I appreciate the planning. So I won't have everything perfectly planned out for him right now for next November, but it's on the calendar. He's gathering, him and his bride. I think his bride is the one that keeps bugging him to bug me. But gathering those inspo pieces, deciding how big it is, what your venue is going to look like, and just kind of starting the vision. But on the short side, the one that I'm doing this weekend has actually just been about a 2-week process. It's a really small wedding, and a friend actually reached out and was like, is there any way you can help my friend? We put this together fast. And I was like, I actually am available, so let's do it.
That's great. Well, I thank you so much, Anne, for coming in.
Thank you.
So Anne Deniz with Country Chic Floral, and I just think you are such an inspiration to the Valley, and the fact that you have that ability to teach, that just and help others become great floral designers too, is also a wonderful
our
inspiration.
wreath class was so much fun last week, so
and it is
looking forward to this
and
week.
I like the fact that you bring flowers out to and create bouquets in front of people right there, and they can pick and choose, and you can just get creative as you want to be. Wonderful. Well, this is Hope Roski with Weddings and Celebrations.